This is my big sister Stacey, and this is Sister's Social Call.
We are two sisters talking about everything that sisters talk about. Welcome to our lives. Well, hey, sissy.
Hey, sister. How are you this fine evening?
Good. We want to welcome all of our listeners back to Sister Social Call and say a special hello to our new listeners.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back and welcome to all our new listeners. Thank you for tuning in to Sister Social Call.
Sis, last week we talked about Christmas prep, baking, decorating, volunteerism, and attending Christmas events. In that episode, we acknowledged that this time of year is not all candy canes and sleigh rides, as you said. For some people, including me and you, this is a time of year where some big feelings are felt. In the last episode, we said we would share some of those with our listeners about how we struggle at this time of year.
We did, and I guess that's what we're going to discuss tonight. So the holidays are often painted as a time of joy, twinkling lights, cozy gatherings, candy canes and sleigh rides. But for many people, Christmas amplifies whatever they're already feeling. So joy can feel bigger, yes, for sure, but so can loneliness, stress, grief, and pressure. There are a few reasons for this emotional spike. One, expectations. We're surrounded by images of the perfect Christmas, perfect meals, perfect families, perfect gifts. Two, the financial stress. Oh my gosh. Well, as Stacey herself has made quite a few mentions about this, is that gift giving or the traveling or hosting, all that adds up. Money becomes a major pressure point, and that can often take away from the real meaning of Christmas. Three, family dynamics. Let's be honest, getting together with everybody in one room can be interesting, complicated, stressful. It can be a lot for sure. As we all know.
And a lot over many days if you're traveling and staying for a duration of time.
Definitely. Seasonal affective disorder can play a role in this. Less sunlight, colder days, more isolation. That can really alter a person's mood.
Mm-hmm.
5, grief and memory. Holidays can reopen wounds. Missing someone often feels sharper at this time of year. Or like it's sometimes, it's like the first
Mm-hmm.
Christmas without so-and-so, or the first experiencing it this way or whatever. Yep, for sure. And then 6, alcohol and other drug use. People are celebrating and or trying to simply numb or manage all these feelings with substances. We've all been there to see how booze makes us behave differently. So, yeah, sis, where do you land with all these? What are your triggers?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I struggle with a couple of these more than the others. So last week I talked about my Christmas savings goal to help with the financial stress. Obviously, that one really resonates me. But that comes from like a long history that started in probably our childhood. Our parents were divorced. That's obviously hard growing up with parents that are divorced, and it's financially very challenging. It did bother me that mom would totally go over the top at Christmas time. And you probably don't know this, Chrissy, but like I cried almost every Christmas because I didn't feel like I was deserving of all that and knowing that it was causing hardship. And so, yeah, like even into my early adulthood, I totally remember like the last Christmas, I think on Athlone, I remember crying that Christmas. Because it was just so fuckered because I knew she couldn't afford to buy us everything, and she did. And she would go into debt because she was trying to make Christmas perfect for us. And like that's a noble endeavor, but it was just really, really hard growing up, like and seeing all this stuff and knowing that she was financially strapped. And for anybody that's listening, gifts is not my love language. It's actually probably the last thing. Like, on my list of love languages, my love language is quality time. And so I don't know if it's like worthiness, like if I didn't feel worthy of all that stuff, and I still like struggle with that. But like, yeah, I find Christmas hard because I see so much consumerism, and I know that people struggle because of that.
I know as an adult that you've always struggled with things like that. Those are like really big, heavy things to feel as a child. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like that, those are, and for you to take on that worry and all that, that's a lot. That is a lot. I hope that you've worked through that, is all I'm going to say to that.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say it's completely closed that circle and put it to bed. But I think as an adult now, at least I recognize the situation we were in as kids, that it wasn't that we weren't deserving or anything like that. It was just really uncomfortable to receive so much, and knowing that and that mom couldn't afford it. Like, it's still to this day, like, and just like, why?
It's so funny that you remember that, because I truly, I don't remember a freaking gift. I don't remember anything like as an adult. I don't remember that shit.
Oh my
I
goodness.
seriously, yeah, I remember the times with people way more so than any. I don't even know if I could name a gift that I got that I remember.
Yeah, like when you say you don't remember any gifts, I remember this was probably when we were about teenagers, and the heap of clothing that mom gave us. Like, I literally had a heap in the living room on Athlone.
Oh, oh. Actually, that's a lie. I remember getting some things like crafty things. I remember getting like friendship bracelet making kits or stickers, things like that, but I couldn't put it to a year, or I just remember that was something that I always got, was that kind of stuff, because I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say, in the whole event of having divorced parents, unfortunately, our father, he always rented a place. He never really had a place that really created home for us. So it never going there for
Mhm.
Christmas time always felt like a bit of a it always felt a bit awkward or uncomfortable, I'll say.
Uh-huh.
That might be hard for my dad to hear, but that's the truth of it. However, that was a moment when we were, that was like a long time ago, and now I just am so grateful, and just so I don't want to dwell on the past shit. That's my biggest thing. We cannot go back there. Like, I'm not interested in that at all. So I'm super grateful and appreciative for where we're at now and the Christmases that we can have. And I'm really trying to celebrate in the moment as opposed to continually revisiting the old shit. Like, I'm not interested in that. Look where we are now. Like, our family, yeah, we grew up poor. We grew up in a whatever. Things were a little bit challenging, but Christmas time, I remember mostly being with family. And so I obviously experienced Christmas when we were young very differently than you. And clearly it shows it to me, that is the most important thing, is family. And that's all that I remember. I remember going to grandma and grandpa's house. I remember being with aunties and uncles and cousins, and the Christmas crackers, and wearing the crowns and all that stuff. I more so remember that more than anything. So that's a lot, that like what you remember and what your memories are. Interesting.
I was just going to move on to the little bit of comment about the family stuff. I do remember also we were so lucky to have been like go to aunties. Usually it was aunties or grandma and grandpa's for Christmas and have everybody around, but it was tricky. And you kind of alluded to it, like we just knew we'd go to our dad's on Christmas Eve and have moms on Christmas Day, so that was good. But when we started getting partners into the pictures, that I found that really was hard, especially when Sean and I started dating, the expectation to be in at dad's, at mom's, maybe at one of the aunts and uncles, and then Sean's family on top of it. That was in my early 20s, and that's only lasted a few years like that before I was like, nuts to this. I can't. I can't be in too many places at once. So Sean and I started to do Christmases a little bit more separately and just decided, like, let's do what makes ourselves happy. And his was to go to his family and mine was to be with my family. And so that's how we did it for a few years.
So what about now? Let's talk about now, because that's all in the past. How do you feel now about that? Like Christmas and time, and are you still feeling like, do you still have all these really big feelings towards this in that regard? Like, are you still feeling all that, or where are you at with that?
Well, obviously moving to Invermere has been very helpful because we've created our own Christmas traditions now. We ski on Christmas Day. We go for a hot spring. We have poutine. And I don't know what we'll do for supper, but we're coming home this year and we know that it's going to be pretty busy. Pretty busy. And I know I know that I schedule it that way. Like, I want to see as many people as I can whenever I'm in Regina. But yep, that's like, I'm glad to have all Christmas obligations done on the first day of Christmas.
Awesome. And then it's free flowing. Do whatever.
That's right.
I think, like, now as we're older, I think we really have to I think just really appreciating, that's a big thing, is just like appreciating family, appreciating being with people that you love. Christmas can be hard. I understand that it is for a lot of people a very challenging time, but I absolutely I feel we're very, very fortunate now at this point in our life of where things are, and our families are healthy, and we are able to be together and put a lot of the past in the past and just celebrate the time together. And I feel fortunate for that. Now, because I know that it truly isn't the case for a lot of people, like, I know that even just, well, I was cutting Uncle Roger's hair today and he's just like, "What's the plans for Christmas?" And I said, "Well, we're going to be at Jay's house for brunch." And then I said, "Well, and then we're probably just all going to come over to your house." And I just feel like it's different now, and it feels better. It feels good. I never really, I mean, I've had lots of stressful Christmases and I've had lots of really, like, unpleasant ones in the past. But again, that's there in the past. So I really just try to, like, live in the moment and really truly enjoy what we have going on now. And I know what makes it stressful, so I avoid it. And even money, it's like, I don't have a ton of money, but I do what I can, and I I don't think people, when I give gifts or whatever, I just do what I can and I don't go crazy, and I don't think people judge me, and I don't care if they do anyways. It's just like, I'm not, so I don't know. I just do what I can now, and I just try to really enjoy the few days off. Being a business owner, especially at a hair salon, it's really busy. And so when I get days off, I'm just so happy for them at that time of the year. So yeah, I don't know. I understand though, for like many people, it's a hard time of the year. And I don't really know. It's kind of an interesting conversation. I don't really know how to address that for people. It's like, you really got to do what you got to do to enjoy this time of the year or make the best of it for yourself, you know? So that means creating boundaries for yourself and what you do or you don't do, or like Stacey with the financial stuff, like putting in that budgeting kind of thing from her paychecks. Like, that really allowed her to enjoy this season a little bit more, I think. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things where you kind of gotta do what you can to make light of the time of the year and try to enjoy it. That's kind of how I feel about it, to be honest. We can't change the past. And that's, I think, the one big thing that I've really learned over the last couple of years of working through a lot of stuff, is like, you have the choice every day to choose the kind of day you want to have, or choose the kind of season you want to have, or choose the Christmas you want to have. So that's what I do. I choose differently than I used to. And I don't want it to be, I want it to be enjoyable, and I want to enjoy the time with my family, because you just don't know what tomorrow will bring. So I do the best that I can, and I try to just enjoy the time. So that, I think, is my 2 cents on Christmas. Like, I know you have struggled with Christmas so hard, and it's actually, like, really it's kind of sad to me that you still feel such heavy feelings towards it.
Well, I think like I recognize them now, and that's why I volunteer at Christmas time, like doing the thing, like because I want to bring the joy that Christmas season can bring. But yeah, it's fucking hard. And it's not all sleigh rides and candy canes. And for you to, it felt very diminishing how you just like were like, it's in the past. This is what's fucking tricky about this time of the year, Chrissy. And I'm not saying like I've dealt with these emotions, but it doesn't fucking matter.
Okay. Well,
So
I'm sorry.
I feel like you've really diminished that in this podcast.
I am sorry. That's not what I wanted it to feel like for me. That's what I've chosen to do. I don't want you to feel that I'm diminishing what you're saying. I guess for myself, I understand how easy it can be to go into those downward spirals of the holiday season. And I just consciously choose to not do that because so much of life was spent there. Like I remember being awkward as kids because our parents were divorced. That I remember, but I'm just so thankful now that it's not that way. Yeah, I'm sorry that you felt that way that when I said that. And I do feel sad that that it is this hard for you still.
But I think the lesson here and for people is like it can still be hard and I'm still looking for things, right? Like it can be both truths. Like looking for things like to bring joy. Because I do think like spending time with our family it was a beautiful memory. Like we have lots and lots of fun. Christmas crackers and wearing crowns every year and looking silly or like there's lots of fun memories. It just that can be both truths is that it can be hard and still joyful, and like I said, that's why you know go
Yeah.
out into community and help others.
And so since you've started to do that, do you feel that has really helped you in how you feel about Christmas?
Like it grounds me. It reminds me that we have abundance. And there's moments like this past weekend when I was volunteering, I had a dad who asked how he can help. And we said, you can buy a gift or you can leave cash, donation, whatever you choose. He went inside Canadian Tire, came out with at least 10 toys. And he said this year he could help. He's been a recipient in past years of the program, and this year he could help. And so he paid it forward. Like, makes me want to cry. That's the meaning of Christmas right there. Like, spreading joy and being generous where you can be in the ways that you can be.
Totally.
Like, and that's not gifts. It can be time, like I'm doing for volunteering. It can be money, but not everybody has it, so that's why I give time to organizations that are meaningful at this time of the year.
Do you think that you and Sean creating your own tradition and creating your own Christmas type, I don't know, is that like tradition is what I want to call it? Or like, do you think that also helps in how you manage the feelings around this time of the year?
Totally, because we don't do we just do us. We just do us.
Yeah.
And simple. It's simple and it's quiet.
Do you feel as though you are experiencing a lot of emotions this Christmas because you're coming home?
No, not right now. Like I can see it being, I have more anxiety about traveling than right? Like, cause we have no idea what the weather is going to be like. We can't control that. So you hope that everything goes well, but we may not make it there. Right? We may not make it to Regina. I just want to make sure we're having lots of fun. Like not
Me
just
too.
on Christmas, but the whole time.
Yeah, I hope so too. We got off on a tangent. Let me get back to where we're at here. Okay. Here's the thing. So if you're feeling heavy or even confusing, that isn't a failure. It is a sign you are alive and processing. Give yourself permission to. These are my hot takes on it. Set boundaries, as I've said already, you guys. I think that's really, really important. And to say no to obligations, especially, I think this one's really been a huge one for me in my life, is that, like, if it's not going to be joyful to me, or it's not going to make it's just like not something I want to do, I absolutely say no to things now, which is awesome and empowering. And it also is like, I think that just time is so precious, so that it's like, why waste your time doing something that you really truly don't want to? Because I've done that, like going to Christmas parties. Also, the other thing to do, you guys, ask for help, like, or talk to your friends, or coworkers if you have a job. You don't have to do it alone. And step away from the things that get overwhelming. Just, I know it's hard because there's all these expectations, but honestly, at some point in life, we all just have to say, like, if it's not working for me, it's not working for me. I feel that. I'm getting so good at that. Much better. And then, kind of last but not least, of course, is like, do the holidays your own way. Kind of like Stacey and Sean, they've created their own little Christmas traditions out in Invermere, and I think that's really like worked for them. And I mean, of course, they have to come back and see the family, put in some time with us crazies. But I think that is it. It's like, if you don't want to travel, that was a big thing for me, is the traveling. I've like always had to travel. My ex-husband, his family lived in Weyburn, and so we were forever in a fucking snowstorm. And when I lived in Alberta, well, I don't think I came home for most of those Christmases. And then, of course, Mark being 2 hours away, like, always traveling. Like, I'm so pumped this year to not have to, like, half an hour find that snow sweat. So yeah, just, figure it out and do your own holiday thing, and figure out what makes you happy and brings you joy at that time, this time of the year. Because I really think, I really do think it's a time for me. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to have these days off. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to make bread and sleep in and eat Nanaimo Square. Anyways, we're just saying that your emotional experience doesn't need to match anyone else's. And I think that's evident in this podcast today, to be totally honest. Like, Stacey and I have we have very different feelings on this. And, but that's okay. That is okay to have different feelings. It is not okay for me to make her feel diminished. Is that the term you used?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that it was in the past. Like, just move on. I agree. I've made different lifestyle decisions because of that and where we are now. But it still is, it's just underneath the surface. Anyways, I'm going to move on to resources that are available. If you work, you can check your employer health benefit program, see if there is a counseling service that you can access, or a counseling benefit you can access. You may have an employee family assistance plan at your employer, which sometimes gives you a number of free counseling sessions as part of the family assistance program. You can always look into that. And then there's publicly funded mental health supports in Canada. So there's the 24/7 crisis line, the 988 suicide crisis helpline. Call or text 988 anywhere in Canada. There's the Kids Help Phone for youth up to the age 29. And then there's the Canadian Mental Health Association. So there's local branches offer counseling, peer support, and crisis resources. And for our Indigenous focused supports, the Hope for Wellness helpline is available.
Are you going to link all those little places in our show notes?
They will be in our show notes. Yep, for sure.
Awesome. Sweet.
And on that note of mental health services, Chrissy and I called this podcast Sister Social Call for a very specific reason. We've talked about it previously, but you may not have heard it in our other episodes. Social Calls is named after programs that prevent isolation. These social call programs connect primarily seniors, with volunteers for regular phone calls to help prevent loneliness and social isolation. During these calls, volunteers and participants share stories, discuss topics, and play games. So that is why we named our podcast the name that it is. And as we've said it before, and we'll say again, if you need to reach out to us, feel free to DM us or on Instagram or wherever you can find me and Chrissy. We are more than happy to help you source out professional supports or just be an ear in your time of crisis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's going to take us to our peaks, pits, and plans. Sis, do you want to go first?
Well, I can. I'll grab my little notebook here because I did seem to scratch those down this morning. So I'm not totally out of my mind here. I have no pits. Well, I guess I have a little pit. I have a little pit that I made you feel that way while recording this podcast today. So that is a little bit of a pit. I did not want to say that in the tone that I said that. I need to take that's not what I meant to say, and I feel bad that I made you feel that way. So I'm very sorry, and that is my pit because I never want to upset you or diminish how you are feeling ever. So please accept my apology, sister.
I do. I accept your apology.
Thank you. That's my only pit. Well, peaks. Okay, well, I did hair. My final day of hair was in Foam Lake. So that's a pit and a peak. I did that on Monday. It was the end of a 2-year chapter of my life doing hair out there. So I'm happy that that's over with, but I am sad because, it was fun and I enjoyed it, but I'll still be in touch with the gals out there. And some of the clients have said they'll come to the lake and get their hair done. So that's great. And then I got to see the pets at the farm. So I stopped by there, dropped some stuff off for Mark. So, but Mark wasn't around. And I had a really incredible experience yesterday in the hair salon. This is a huge peak. And I've asked them for permission to share my feelings on what happened. I've had this client since they were really young, and she has entrusted me to be her hairstylist in her time of transition. And yesterday I got to see her in all her beauty. She was so confident. She looked so beautiful, and she was a 100% different. I mean, obviously she's transitioning. Than I've ever seen her before. And it was the most beautiful thing that I have got to witness in a very long time. And, it makes me cry talking about it every time I think about it. But I was just it was such an amazing experience. I got to cut her hair, and then I helped her to style it, and I got to teach her how to curl her hair. And it was such a touching moment for me yesterday. It was just, I had to message her mom and after just tell her. And even I did tell this client when she was leaving, I said, I am so proud of you and you are so beautiful. And it was awesome. And so it was an experience that I had that it's something I will hold to my heart for a very long time because it was just a really incredible experience. So that was my major peak. There's nothing that's probably going to top that one this week. So my plans for the week, well, tomorrow night we're going to the Wascana Flower Shop to do a living arrangement with a lantern in it. So that'll be fun. Me and mom and our sister-in-law, Lisa. And then, well, Mark and I are going to the exhibition and the rodeo together on Saturday. So that's going to be great. And Sunday, my girlfriend and I are doing chocolate day. We're making Christmas chocolates. And then on Monday, I have my women's group. I got a lot of things happening in my life. I don't usually like to be this busy. I was thinking when I wrote these down, I was like, when am I going to bake bread and paint? Where am I going to fit this into my schedule? So,
It's almost
yeah.
December.
And it's crazy busy at the salon. So, anyway, that's going to do it for me for that today. So, Stacey, you're up to bat.
Yeah. Pits. Well, I didn't have any, but I mean, obviously talking about hard, big emotions is hard. So I'm going to leave it there. Chrissy apologized. Yeah. Peaks. I got so many. It was a great week. I had an awesome visit with my friend Jenna on Sunday. She came over for coffee. She was here for 3 hours. That was amazing. And then I had lunch with a former colleague on Monday. Also great to catch up. I volunteered with the Christmas Bureau on Saturday, so received gifts at Canadian Tire for kids. I had mentioned that earlier. And then I helped volunteer at the thrift store. They had a Christmas pop-up and it was massive. I went and helped clean up at the end of the day, but honestly, there wasn't much left to clean up. It was very, very busy and a very successful day.
What do they do with anything that's left over? Do they save it for a future year, or do they then, what do they do with that? I was thinking about that.
I think they put some of it back on the sales floor. Like, it'll go to the floor, and I don't know if it's carried over from year to year. I don't know that.
Okay.
Plans. Lots also going on this weekend in my world. I'm taking Friday off. In our collective agreement, we have 2 supplemental days in a year that you can just use for whatever purpose. So I haven't used them yet this year. So I have one this month, this Friday, and then next month I took another Friday off.
Wow, you have like
And
a
so
3-day work week this week. That's great.
I do. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Tomorrow's my Friday. So Friday, I don't have too much planned yet. We'll see. I'll sit down with Sean and see if there's stuff that needs to get done. But Saturday, I am going to Cranbrook to meet a friend there. And then we're going to their big winter Christmas market. And so that will be exciting. But I can't stick around in Cranbrook too long because that night I'm coming back to Invermere and I'm judging the floats. And I talked about that like last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talked about that last week, that it's like, that's fun. Like, that brings joy, is to go do that. And we'll be taking Glühwein and apple cider to the shop that day. So that'll be nice. Sunday, we are going to Canmore and having a sleepover with our friends Ian and Julie. Ian was our best man in our wedding. And then we are going to go to the Banff Christmas market. And I am very excited for that. I was like, Mom, do you want to fly out to Calgary and we'll go to the Banff Christmas market? And it was a no, but it doesn't matter. I still get to go there. It was a pretty big ask.
You manifested that, though. You said you wanted to go, and then boom, look what's happening.
Yeah, so we're very excited to see them. And we're going to Chrissy's friend's restaurant in Canmore that I've always wanted to go to. We have reservations at Crazy Weed. So that's exciting.
I hope Eden's working when you go.
Me too.
I saw today that I think she might be back, but they went rock climbing somewhere. So I'm not too sure, but
yeah,
that'll be great. I'm excited for you guys to go there.
And Monday, I'm going for a hand physiotherapy consultation session. So I'm still having the stuff going on with my hands, like the tingling, the numbness, and the lack of grip strength and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very excited to go to a physiotherapist for that. So starts the very busy Christmas season.
It is coming in hot here for sure. I felt that today at the saloon. She was busy. It's always busy, but today was gong show busy. Is that going to wrap it up for us?
I think so.
So anyways, you guys, you can find Sisters Social Call on Instagram. You can find Stacey on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can find myself, Krista, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Stacey and I have this big goal. We want to get to 4,000 downloads by the end of the year, which is only 6 more episodes, I think. Yep, 6 more episodes. So we need your help. If you guys love the podcast, please share it with the people in your life that you think would love it too. Please make sure you're subscribing so that you never miss an episode, so you help us get to that goal. And thank you so much for being a part of Sister Social Call. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Love you, sis.
Love you too, sis.